What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. Multiple different things here for you guys here in this video. Also, today is 9/11, the anniversary. And you could see here, we honor the victims of 9/11 here. President Biden also gave a speech at the Pentagon saying, quote, "So many heroes were made here." Here's a quick excerpt of the speech.
The American story itself changed that day. But what we did change, what we will not change, what we cannot change, never will, is the character of this nation that the terrorists thought they could wound. And what is that character? The character of sacrifice and love, of generosity and grace, of strength and resilience. In the crucible of 9/11, in the days and months that followed, we saw what stuff Americans are made of. Think of all of your loved ones, particularly those on that flight, ordinary citizens who said, "We will not let this stand," risked and lost their lives so even more people would not die. We saw it in the police officers and firefighters who stood on the pile on Ground Zero for months amid that twisted steel and broken concrete slabs, breathing the toxins and ash that would damage their health, refusing to stop the search through the destruction. They never stopped and would not. We learned about the extraordinary courage and resolve, as I said, of the passengers on board Flight 93, who understood that they were living the open, they were there in the middle of the open shot of a new war, and who chose to fight back, not professionals, to fight back, sacrificing themselves, refusing to let their plane be used as a weapon against even more innocents. And here at the Pentagon, which was both the scene of the horrific terrorist attack and the command center for our response to defend and protect the American people, so many heroes were made here. So many of your loved ones were those heroes. Began almost immediately with civilians and service members leaping to action as the walls collapsed and the roof began to crumble. They raced into the breach between the fourth and fifth corridors. The impact created by the fire raged at twice the height of this building. I remember I was a U.S. Senator walking up to my office, and I could see the smoke and flames. They were heroes. They went back into those soaring flames to try to save their teammates. Firefighters battled the blaze of jet fuel long into the night, pushing past the bounds of exhaustion. Pentagon staff showed up to work on September 12th, more determined than ever to keep their country secure. As I said when I was up on 9/11, we will follow them to the gates of hell to be sure that they're not able to continue. And millions of young men and women from across the nation responded to 9/11 attacks with courage and resolve, signing up to defend our Constitution and joining the greatest fighting force in the history of the world. And in the years since 9/11, hundreds of thousands of American troops have served in Afghanistan, Iraq, and so many other places around the world to deny terrorists a safe haven and to protect the American people. And to all our service members and their families, our veterans, our Gold Star families, all the survivors and caregivers and loved ones who sacrificed so much for our nation, we owe you. We owe you an incredible debt.
Yeah, so 9/11 and Pearl Harbor and some of those things we never forget. if you're military, you have any family in military, thank you for your service. My grandfather on my mother's side was in Pearl Harbor 2 days before it happened, before it struck. So yeah, he was in the Navy. And again, thank you for your service. If you're in the military or were, or if you have any family members in the military, thank you for serving our country. And just remind you of these things here. And now, even now, with the war in Ukraine going on, and that type of situation, that it feels like we could be pulled in at any given moment with China, with Russia, and Iran over there. And it really, you look at some of the headlines here, with Taiwan and all those situations going over there. It really does feel like, you know uh, we're blessed to not be involved directly in a wartime situation. But on the other hand, it also feels like at a moment's notice, things could change. I mean, you think about 9/11, we all kind of woke up that morning, and the world had changed. The world had changed. Yeah, let me know your. And then a 20-year war happened. A 20-year war, and then we just withdrew from Afghanistan here 20 years later. 20 years later. And you guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but it just seems like it was overdue. It seems like it was overdue. I mean, we had been withdrawing troops for a while. There's a lot of criticism about how we did it and the equipment left over there. Rightfully so. I think we probably should have gotten a lot more of the equipment out of there, but you know, I don't know if nothing can be done about it now at this point. But let me know your thoughts here in the comments. And then really the other thing we've got to think about really right now is that the thousands of people we lost in 9/11 and Pearl Harbor, we've lost over 1 million victims from the current pandemic we're in and the virus that we're still dealing with right now. And the new variants that are going on here right now, we still have thousands and thousands of cases per day here every single day of new people here in the United States. And I'll show you this headline here, just from a few days ago. In China, the Shenzhen district, which is a massive district in China, just had a massive lockdown as China battles COVID outbreaks. You can see what a massive city that is there. It's actually a major shipping port as well. Look at how big of a city this is, and the um, kind of check-in points and testing points that they have here. People having to go get tested there. The lockdowns going on there. I believe that this is 18 million people now on lockdown. Yeah, imagine if we were going through that here. And I mean, we're dealing with the same virus. It's just that they're under lockdown and we're not. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but look, you could see how empty the streets are in a city with tens of millions of people. Yeah, most districts locked down in a tech hub of 18 million people. For example, here, the city of New York City has 8.3 million people. This city has 18 million people. That's actually more than the entire state of New York State. New York State has 20 million people. New York State population has 20 million people. Okay. So this area, this whole district is on lockdown, has about the population of the entire state of New York State. That's how many people are in this district, guys. And this whole district is on lockdown. Yeah, so imagine if this was going on here in the U.S. The lockdowns and suspensions of bus and subway services came into effect 2 days after city authorities said rumors about a lockdown were based on misinterpretation of the latest virus prevention and control measures, but it actually happened. Residents in 6 districts that account for the majority of the city's population will be tested twice over the weekend, helping to minimize the impact on people's working life, even though they're in lockdown. And they will remain in lockdown for at least 7 days, with extensions possible if more positive cases are found. And I mean, this is where China. You wonder here because the U.S. on September 9th we had 73,885,000 new cases. Cases are actually going down a little bit right now. But again, this is only at official testing facilities, okay? The 7-day average is around 66,000 new people per day. This does not, again, every single day, new cases, 73,000 on Friday. This is only people that go to official testing facilities. So if you take those at-home tests that you were just able to get from the government for free, or if you buy them from a store, those don't get counted because you just take the at-home test, you see if it's positive. It's kind of like taking a pregnancy test. Nobody else knows if you're positive or not. It's just between you and God, right? Or your partner. You can see here the U.S. has had almost 100 million total positive cases, which is a third of the population. This does not include the at-home test. So who knows how many people have actually tested positive? Maybe half the population, maybe more. It's possible to know. And over 1 million people have died, including, people that have died from complications, stuff like that. I've seen a lot of people in the comments section saying that they have had family members and loved ones that have passed away from this. So my thoughts on um, condolences to anybody that has lost a loved one or family member from this pandemic. But the Shenzhen lockdown raises concern over wider logistics disruptions. It's a massive, massive shipping port hub out of China to the US. Not only that, but in addition to that, in the United States, how a railroad strike could send food prices soaring. This is becoming closer and closer. This could also affect the United States in a major way. The nation's supply of food could take a major hit if railroad workers go on strike, driving up prices at the grocery store even more than they are now, which they're already at or near record highs. We may have seen them go down a little bit depending on where you live. Some people say they have, some people say they haven't. And limiting U.S. grain exports to countries facing famine. As soon as next week, 115,000 freight rail workers could walk out if they cannot reach a new contract with railroads, potentially shutting down the nation's rail network that transports 20% of all grain shipments, along with all sorts of other stuff. I mean, that's just one thing here. But while unions say they want to avert a strike, Congress has the power to block it, but not the actual workers who could walk off the job. The U.S. food sector is rattled by the prospect of a nationwide railroad shutdown in the middle of peak harvest season. Even a short-lived interruption would create a devastating ripple effect on the nation's fragile supply chains. Quote, rail-dependent facilities will be unable to receive materials and ingredients, and millions of Americans a day will be unable to receive the baked goods they rely on to feed themselves, their families, and communities if this happens. A railroad shutdown in mid-September would quickly overwhelm grain storage facilities, leaving farmers few options to store their crops and boosting the chance of spoilage. many grain processors would shut down, raising the price of bread and other common items, while farmers would be saddled with huge crop quantities and lower commodity prices. It's kind of a double whammy when you hit both the beginning and the end of the supply chain. Freight railroads also carry roughly half of fertilizer, and farmers can't afford delays. If farmers do not receive fertilizer, it results in lower crop yields, higher food prices, and more inflation for consumers. Soaring food costs, which agricultural groups blame on partially on existing railroad disruptions, have hit American families particularly hard already. Grocery prices rose 13.1% over the last year, ending in July, the largest annual increase in more than 4 decades, according to the Labor Department. A nationwide railroad work stoppage would cost the U.S. economy more than $2 billion per day and cause shipping containers to stack up at ports, according to estimates from the Association of American Railroads. Wow, $2 billion per day. So hopefully we can avert this crisis, but as of right now, it has not happened. And some railroad workers actually saying they kind of want to stick it to the man, their railroad bosses who have put them under really bad working conditions for many, many years. And yeah, there's only a few days left here, so I'll keep you up to date on that and everything else going on here in our country on a daily basis. Let me know your thoughts here. So we're kind of seeing this from both ends, from the shipping overseas and here domestically. Um, I know if it's not one thing, it's another. I know you literally can't make this stuff up, but let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. Click the bell icon after subscribing so you get notifications when we go live. Remember, the new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can show your support for our channel by simply giving us a thumbs up down below if you appreciate these videos. You can click here to watch my newest video on new checks going out to millions of Americans. And you can click here to see my new video on an important day coming out here on September 13th, which is coming up very quickly here. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.